Welcome to 90210 Universe, a podcast dedicated to showcasing unique, creative, and diverse humans who are making their mark by living their legacies. Visionaries who took and take action daily. We all have a story. Here, we share ours to inspire, move, and empower others. It's okay to face challenges as we all journey through survival, thriving, and succeed in life. So join us as we spotlight rock stars who navigate the roller coasters of life and use their uniqueness to show that if they can do it, so can you. So, hello and welcome back. Welcome to the 90210 podcast, a podcast dedicated to showcasing unique, creative, and of course, diverse human beings who are making their mark by living their legacies today. Visionaries who took and who take action daily. We all have a story, and here on our podcast, we share ours to inspire, motivate, and empower others. It's okay to face challenges, as well as the journey through life, survival, thriving, and succeeding in life. Join us as we spotlight rock stars and, of course, those who on a daily basis navigate the roller coaster of life and use their uniqueness to show that if they can do it, so can you. And today, I'm excited to welcome a very special human being who you already see on the screen by the name of Henning Morales. Good morning, good afternoon, Henning. How are you today?
Good morning, good afternoon. Doing just fantastic. How are you today?
Well, me too. I'm excited to talk to you because I know your story is not necessarily the regular success story, easy way up, easy way coming and going. But for anybody who might not know you, I will only share that you are a filmmaker, a speaker, an international best-selling author, and now you're also the CEO and founder of a very groundbreaking positive platform called Mindatorium. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey, how you got to where you are today?
Wow, that's a long story, Natalie. But I'll keep it down to our time limit. You talk about the easy way to success. I don't know if there really is an easy way. Sometimes it seems easier than others. Sometimes people have start off with a head start, maybe, or get some help along the way in early stages, which I did not have. I was a confused and troubled teenager. Excuse me. There's a whole story that goes that basically leads up to that, why that happened, how that happened. But I was absolutely going nowhere, ages 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out with the wrong crowd, basically behaving in a very disempowering manner. And I know we all have our issues and our moments as teenagers, but mine was like on the next level of making the next level of upset to my parents, to my teachers, to my friends. And it was just not great until I met some super high powered motivational masters who really turned my life around by sharing with me positive thought processes, positive strategies, ways to be a constructive individual, a solid citizen, an upstanding member of society, if you will. And they taught me some basic skills, such as have a positive mental attitude, which I didn't understand what that was, because everyone always told me that I had a bad attitude. I didn't know that there was a good attitude. I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah.
About goal setting, which is something that I didn't have any idea about. It was a mystery to me. It was fascinating. I thought goals were like in sports, like you like in soccer,
right?
Football, as y'all call it. You kick the ball and you get a goal, right?
Yay.
They talked about the idea of treating other people with respect and other people with kindness, and treating other people, seeing things from their perspective, which to me, as a confused and troubled teenager, I didn't have any idea what that was about. So I learned those things and other things. and completely turned my life around. I'd been a high school dropout. I went back to high school, finished my high school program, and then went on to university and graduated with top honors. And then I moved out to Los Angeles area, actually San Diego, Southern California area, to start my law school years. And I
Oh.
went to law school at the University of San Diego. And eventually, I met a second group of motivational masters who completely took my thinking to the next level. I call them the old guys. The first group was the young guys, guys
Hmm.
my age, teenagers and young adults. And these were the old guys. To me, old was anyone over, 30, over
Yeah, I
30,
know what you mean.
43. Right. And so they taught me a whole nother level of thinking. Some of the people that I learned from are household names that you all know the names of. Some of them are not. But regardless, I really learned how to do business at a different level, and also how to speak and how to coach and train others. And I traveled the world for several years, speaking and training and coaching, and I've spoken to over 1 million people and all over the world during those years, and did very well financially and personally, and just reached all my goals, and was a happy person, on all levels. And to me, that's the most important thing, is to be happy, is to be progressively realizing your goal. And eventually, I start putting those ideas down on paper, and wrote a novel. I wrote a second novel, and the first novel, which is called The Dirt Merchants, turned into multiple films. And that's a whole nother story about how that happened. I have great
Hmm.
mentors, great coaches. And from that point forward, it seems like it was the easier way. From the time of actually making the films, there was a whole shift in my career path. Going from being a speaker and coach and trainer to a filmmaker. It's a whole nother career path. So there's challenges. You start from zero, but I started with assets. I started with great connections. I started with great friendships, and also some knowledge of how the personal development business worked, and also how the film industry works, and basic knowledge. Made these films, and eventually we launched a motivational, inspirational, transformational platform, like a Netflix or a Hulu type of platform, but only for content that feeds the mind,
Hmm.
positive programming, or thought-provoking programming, films, TV shows, music, community, the whole 9 yards. And that's Mindatorium. We started it almost 3 years ago, and we're just now beginning our marketing campaign to bring our subscribers into the fold. And so it's been the trajectory in recent years seems to be the easy way, but it started through, first of all, the adversity of my early years, and then second of all, the challenges of switching careers, basically going a
Hmm.
whole entirely new direction, starting over. And but ever since then, 16, 17, 18, it's been, the past 2 years, been a nice steady flow upward.
Yeah. Thank you. And some of that I know, but I want the audience to know as well. And I want to go all the way back, because you sort of said, you had an attitude, okay? And it's not very often that, from my experience, having lived in the US and in other places, when there's a gang or a group, or you're like down and out, you're not really participating in the upstanding things. It seems very difficult to get out of that, because it's that negativity continuously going. But you said that's when you met your first group of motivational, inspirational guides or mentors. How did that happen, or how did you know that these were the people you needed to connect with?
Well, I think all of us young, teenager is just an adult that just hasn't lived long enough yet to understand the ways of the world. And somebody in their 20s is just an adult that hasn't lived long enough to understand the ways of the world. Somebody in their 30s is the same thing. We
Yeah.
always continue to grow, and there's always another level of understanding. So I don't
Mhm.
really treat teenagers any differently than I treat any age group,
Yeah.
except that we're much more impressionable as younger people. We're much more apt to follow the clique, follow the group, follow our friends. And to me, my friends are the most important thing. I had a small
Mhm.
group of friends. That's all I cared about, and care about anything else. And we really, were, like I said, once I had started with my troublemaking spree, and my bad attitude. I basically got away from my quote unquote good friends, and started hanging
Mhm.
out with another group that was definitely on their way, definitely into juvenile delinquency and on their way to
Yeah.
criminal activity. Those were the people that I was hanging out with, and we become like the people that we hang around with. It's the law of
Yes.
association. It's very, very, very clear. Those of us who are parents, we know the most important thing you can do, there are several important things, but one of the top ones, if you're a parent, is know who your kids are friends with. Know your kids are friends with is going to tell you who they are,
Yeah.
and because we become like the people we hang around with, and that's for any age, right? So, but I think all of us know if we're in tune to our inner voice, and that voice is there, whether we're teenagers, whether we're little kids, whether we're grown adults, what have you. That inner voice was telling me there's a problem here.
Mhm.
This is not the way to go, and sometimes we push that voice down, and
Right.
as some people call it, our conscience, like in the
Mhm.
Disney movie Jiminy Cricket, let your conscience be your guide,
Right.
right? Your
Yes.
conscience is telling you the right way, even though your actions and your thinking may be off track. Your conscience is always telling you the right way. It's that feeling that something's not quite right. It's
Mhm.
that feeling that you should be doing more, or you should be doing better, or you shouldn't
Right.
be doing that, or you it's basically the should voice. This is where you
Mhm.
should be going. These are the decisions you should be making. These are the choices you should be uh, the road you should be heading down, the choices you should be making. And that voice was there the whole time. And when I met some people who were very positive thinkers,
Mhm.
and the business that they brought me into was insane. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It was not a place it was not the best place to be. And again, that's all in the movies and in the books. You can
Right.
read about that
Right.
and learn about that. However, it did get me away from my troublemaking friends. It did get me away from the thinking, the despair that
Mhm.
I was feeling, and that voice. Basically, these people spoke to that inner voice that
Yeah.
and told me this is the way. So life is always. It's very fascinating to me that life is always is giving you a message. Life is always presenting a voice that will speak to that inner voice that you have and move you in this direction if you will listen to it. And
Yeah.
sometimes, with teenagers, they're not ready. And I tell parents all the time, as I coach kids, and we set up a youth mentorship forum at USC, and we
Mhm.
coach kids, we coach parents, we coach teachers. And basically, sometimes these kids are not ready. They're not ready to hear that voice. So you got to give them time and try to feed their passions, the activity that the activities that they're most passionate about. Feed that, and then eventually they'll start to listen to those more
Mhm.
rational voices if kids are misbehaving, or if they're involved in any type of juvenile delinquency, problem making. And it's the same with
Mhm.
adults. Those of us who are adults, adults who are making poor decisions are like adult juvenile delinquents. They're adult delinquents.
Yes.
They just keep going. They don't stop. So give people enough time, and eventually they, if you nurture their interests, just like with us, if we nurture our interests, if we go after our passions, if we're doing the things that make us most motivated, we'll be
Mhm.
in a mindset. Our mindset will be in a place where we can hear the voices from the outside that
Right.
touches our inner voice and move further in the right direction.
Which makes perfect sense. Even as adults, like you said, sometimes we're not ready to to listen to that voice. Now, when that voice comes in, and all of a sudden your old friends, they see you, like I observe it in my circles with my daughter as well. Then the old friends, tend to get a little jealous. They're trying to pull you back in. What helped you specifically in not moving back to, I'm going to just call it the old friends, but really moving forward? Because even
But you
if
got
you
to cut them
listen to
out.
that voice,
You got to cut them out.
okay.
There's no other way. You got to cut them out, and that's one of the first things that I learned.
Hmm.
And was that I had to get away from from those negative influences and just
Hmm.
cut them out completely of my life. And it's easier said than done sometimes, but sometimes it's easier done than said.
Hmm.
It's very easy if you meet a group of people who are inspiring to you, and a group of people who are making you happy people, a happy person, I should say. then it's not a challenge to just to walk away from those other people because they're not your friends.
Yeah.
You should seek out mentorship, seek out coaching, seek out individuals that encourage you to think for yourself, not encourage you to follow the crowd. And many of my films are about that same same topic. It's the laws
Right.
of association. It's trying to get away from criminals. They basically good, quote unquote, good people who are messing around with criminals a little bit, kind of getting in their world a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just by getting in a little bit, you're going to get sucked in more and more and more.
Right.
And it's like the show The Sopranos is a great example of that. A terribly violent and really outrageous show. But you see when quote unquote civilians start getting involved with these mobsters, that they get their claws into them and keep pulling them down that path. And it's the laws of association. If you hang around with criminals, you're going to become a criminal. If you hang around with juvenile delinquents, you're going to become a juvenile delinquent.
Right.
And your true friends will follow you towards their success by you showcasing your success and living by example. So my original group of friends, which were my good friends, right? Many of them followed my lead. They couldn't believe that I had turned my life around, going from a troublemaker juvenile delinquent to graduating top honors at a top university. And
Yeah.
it caused many of my friends to go back to school or to pursue advanced degrees. And because they said basically, if he can do it.
Yeah. If he can, I can, right?
And my troublemaker friends, I never talked to them. I just cut them out completely. And because it's the only way. And I was fortunate enough to be around an environment that really fostered that. It was a new group a new group to hang around, new group to be inspired by. And that's one of the reasons why we started the main reason why we started this our platform, our entertainment platform, is to create a community where like-minded individuals can thrive and encourage each other, and we don't put up with any type of disempowering behavior. Now, it doesn't mean that it's always roses and lollipops and positive thinking and just we don't just sit around and bliss out, right? There's challenges in life that you must deal with. And sometimes things go wrong. In fact, if you're on a path towards a greater success, things always go wrong. Things always go wrong. There's no such thing as a path up. Your path to success is not this. It's this, up and down, up and up and up and up until you continue to go, right? And if that's not what you're experiencing, then it's because your goals are not big enough. It's as simple as that. When I say not big enough to warrant challenges, right? If you're content with your current situation and you don't want to change and don't want to grow, which is a mistake, but if you are, then you're not going to experience the ups and downs. Right. It's when you're going after important dreams and goals and aspirations and bringing many, many people with you. That's when you're going to be experiencing challenges every day. And every new goal, every new objective, every new mission, every new vision that you have for your greater success is going to bring along with it a learning curve and a confidence level that you need to build up towards. And in the meantime, things go wrong. So you have to deal with these things regardless. But if you have the right people around you, if you have the right community supporting you, then it becomes a pleasurable experience where you're all growing and learning together. It's when you have people around you that are not your real true friends, they're not your true allies, they're envious or jealous or what have you. If you have those people around you, then you're constantly fighting against that negative energy, and you're not going to be able to move forward. And worse, you might get swept back into that negative downward spiral.
There are a number of things you just said that I want to flow back to, but we do have to take a little break.
Sure.
So please bear with us, and everybody listening or watching right now, please bear with us. We're really just going to take a very short break so that we can highlight one of our sponsors, 90210 Enterprise and the Advisory Legacy Council, but we will be right back.
Welcome to 90210 Enterprise, where your dreams take flight. Join an exclusive community of over 20,000 professionals, unlocking access to world-class business consulting and powerful networking opportunities, with expertise spanning 12 specialized sectors, including network, business and ventures, real estate, finance, and more. Choose from our tailored access plans, corporate access and executive access. Unlock exclusive benefits of corporate and executive access, including a 30-minute orientation with Dr. Natalie Forest, Executive Director of 90210 and President of the Media Vertical, and a 45-minute consultation with Ashkan Tabibnia, Founder and CEO of 90210 Enterprise for Corporate Access members. Executive Access members receive a 30-minute consultation. As a member, you enjoy access to special opportunities to expand your reach, participate, and collaborate with our partners, such as Viran Depeche, and have your message be shared globally. Are you ready to turn your dreams into reality? Join us today and experience the difference. Contact us at 90210enterprise@gmail.com.
And welcome back to your 90210 podcast, where we showcase, of course, unique, creative, and diverse humans, those who are actually living their legacies. And today, as you recall, we have Henning Morales, and he has shared a number of important aspects. Just before the break, we were talking, or he was talking, about whenever you're on the right path, so to speak, that's when you get challenged. That's when this roller coaster starts a little bit. It is interesting because I keep having those same conversations where people then question, of course, well, I'm being challenged. People are jealous. Is it really right what I'm doing? And so to go back to that question, which is going to lead to the question about legacy, if you're out of your comfort zone, the way that I would say it, and you are being challenged, you mentioned you need the community. Maybe this is a stupid question, but if you're initially all on your own, where do I find my community? Where do I find those mentors? If I live somewhere out in the boonies, or everybody in my school is really not nice, everybody at work has a negative attitude, where do I find those people that can mentor me and support me?
Well, that's an excellent question, and it's a question of starting. Start with one.
Mm-hmm.
Start with one. Find one person that likes you, that believes in you. Start with one, right?
Okay.
Then when we say community, so many times we think, well, there's a. When I say my group, the group of mentors, really it was one or two people. It wasn't,
Yeah.
and lots of other people kind of supporting cast, almost like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You have a main actor, you have two main actors usually, and then you have the supporting cast. So you're not going to find a whole team from day one. That's something that is important to know. Find one person who believes in you. And for teenagers, many times it's a parent, but many times it's not a parent. Sometimes it's a grandparent, aunt, uncle. Sometimes it's a teacher. Sometimes it's not a teacher. Sometimes it's somebody in the community. Sometimes it's a coach. Find one person. Don't worry about bringing loads of people onto your mentorship team from day one, because that's not how it works. And the way it works really is you're going to be mentored and coached and supported by very few people at any given time. Now, over time, you're going to have several people that have helped you along the way, but at any given time, there's only a small group. And even now, with all of the teams that I have, I run 5 or 6 different teams to run my company. It is really only a couple people that I lean on that are, and sometimes it's not even the people who are on my team, because again, it's something that is a very personal thing. So a lot of times you can't share with your team, or if it's school, if with your fellow classmates, or even with your parents. When I talk to teenagers, sometimes you don't want to talk to them. I didn't when I was a teenager. Last people I want to talk to was my parents.
Yes.
And as I got older, I had a great relationship with my father. I had a great relationship with my mother, but that's later. Teenagers, a lot of times they don't want to talk to older people. They want somebody their own age, which is why it's so tough with peer pressure, because you want someone your own age or close to your own age. But where do you find that? Just reach out to one person or two people that you can find. And if you can't find them locally, then, and again, we're talking about kids, I just say get professional help, go to this counselor, tell them what's going on. School counselor could be a great friend. And because those people, and again, that wasn't my way to do it. And it may have been a mistake. To me, anyone over 25 was like, I don't want to talk to them at all. That was me. And a lot of kids feel that way. And I remember, and the reason I remember is because I write about it consistently. I make movies about it. So I have a very clear sense of what a teenage mindset is. And so it's tricky with teenagers, but a lot of times it'll be maybe an older kid. If the kids are involved in sports, it's the older, maybe the older kids on the sports teams that will do it. I had, when I was involved in sports before, I call it the fever, before I developed my extreme bad attitude, my juvenile delinquency spree, right? I was involved in sports, and with sports, it was always the older kids, like, and I was fortunate enough to have excelled at sports. And so I many times was playing against kids who were much bigger than me and stronger and better, right, than me in football and baseball and other sports. And so I would look up to these kids, and they were older, but they were encouraging me. It wasn't something that again, this is where if people are jealous or envious, it's because you're in a position that's higher up in the strata of whatever your industry or whatever you're talking about. You're higher up, so people get envious and jealous, and that's just a natural human reaction. We all do it, right? And some people just do it to the extreme. Right. And so it's better to have mentors that are higher up in whatever pecking order that you're involved with, because they're not going to be jealous of you. It's like if I'm coaching kids, in Little League, for example, and baseball, I'm not going to be jealous that they're going to do well. I'm going to be happy that they do well, because I'm already way up here and they're down here. So you want to have people who've already done it, people who are more successful in your given field. And those are the people that are going to be the ones encouraging you. Make sure they have your interests at heart. Make sure that they are that they're sincere. You're looking for sincere people, honest people who really care about your success. And the rest of them, remember, there's hundreds of other people that you can't mess with those people. You have to be around the ones that are going to bring you up to those levels. And that's why it's over through the years. It's not the same person. Sometimes you pass your mentors. Sometimes you pass them up. You need new mentors. It doesn't mean that you're not friends with them. It doesn't mean that you're not, maintaining relations. It means that you're just not in touch with them every single day. You already passed them up. Yeah. So a lot of the people that mentored me and were really encouraging to me earlier in the days of making movies, I don't really talk to them that much now. We're still good friends. We still hang out whenever we can. But I don't really talk to them because they've already coached and mentored me past where they are in that particular area. It doesn't mean I'm better than them. It means that they're in their world and I'm in my world. And in my world, I need, because listen, I'm involved in new challenges. I need new people around me that will be able to challenge me and also to encourage me based on the knowledge of where I'm headed versus somebody who's not. So be careful of that as well.
Good advice. And I think that's always a balance, even for adults, letting go of a mentor who you care about, who's cared about you, but you need to maybe move in a different direction, or like you said, you've reached a different level. So when it comes to you, because you've given a lot of advice now, so looking at you, and this is the final question of our podcast, legacy, that's a huge word, of course. And, partially one could say, your legacy, of course, is the life that you've led, with coming from delinquency to different delinquency, coming out to making movies and having created this amazing platform. What do you think you do every day to live your legacy, and what do you think is your legacy?
Well, that's again, you're right. That's a big one. And I don't have all the answers. It's
Mhm.
mysterious. It's a mysterious world. It's a mysterious planet. We're mysterious beings. So I just, what I do is for myself is do everything I can to be true to myself,
Mhm.
be true to who I am, and not make any attempts to be anything else except me, and then feed me so that I can grow into somebody that has more influence
Mhm.
based on who I am.
Right.
And I think that affecting other people with words is a very important part of my value system about what makes me a unique individual. I
Mhm.
feel very passionate about words. I feel very passionate about visual imagery and communicating the concepts that I learned at a very young age, and also that I learned later in life, to mass numbers of people. And the
Mhm.
more people that I can touch with words and visuals and concepts, the greater my impact is going to be on this planet.
Mhm.
And then when it's my turn to leave this planet, there's an entity that's actually still there,
Mhm.
that continues, because if my influence has been able to make a positive change in mass numbers of people,
Mhm.
then basically physically I'm gone,
Right.
but in essence I'm not, because the influence is still there.
Mhm.
And so that's how I see legacy, and that's how I live my life every single day, to be true to myself and make the proper decisions that are going to move that agenda forward,
Mhm.
and make the proper decisions to leave behind activities or people in my life or situations that are not going to feed that value system. And if we
Mhm.
all live that way, my opinion, if we all live that way, then we would all have so much of an impact on this world, that we'd be living in a different world. And that's eventually my goal is to see the world with more of the philosophies and the value systems, and the way that we have learned to live our lives, that's exemplified in the rest of
Mhm.
the world, in politics and business, in community, and
Yeah.
we're on our way. We're on our way, and it's I just my one of my goals is to actually be here on this planet when we see the difference and we see the change.
Yes.
And if enough
Yes.
of us do it, then we're going to see the change in all areas, and it's happening.
Mhm.
But it's sometimes a slow go.
Absolutely. But, progress usually is a little slow and takes the community that you're helping to build, of course. But I think it's very crucial also that uh, be true to yourself, which I think we get challenged at sometimes when we start comparing ourselves. Um, so thank you so much, Henning. I think this has been inspiring. And there's, like you said, there's a lot more, not just your movies, not just your book, not just the legacy of Mindatorium. But for now, our time is up. And I appreciate you making the time. I appreciate everybody watching. And of course, we look forward to the next episode. And anybody who's watching right now, just hit the subscribe button and we'll see you at the next show. Thank you again so much, Henning, and have a fantastic day.
Okay, bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today in the 90210 Universe, a podcast dedicated to showcasing unique, creative, and diverse humans, who we are, living their legacies, making a difference, and thereby being the change, supporting and inspiring others. Join our universe by subscribing to this podcast, follow us on social media, and contact us to join the 90210 Enterprise community to elevate your life and legacy today.